Welcome to the Introduction to WebSockets tutorial. So this is kind of a half tutorial, half challenge in that I've written some sample code. I've got it all going, some tests going, some links going, a little sample packet set up. It's not finished yet. And here it is. I've sort of got the first steps going. Like, let's create a WebSocket server. Let's create a WebSockets client. Let's have them talk to each other. And then it's not finished. This is the rest for you to build. So this is more of a challenge or an exercise for you to solve, which is like, hey, let's build a chat server using WebSockets. So you can get it from Joshua Weil, WebSockets Introduction, and I'm just going to run through a little bit of the code, how it works, and then I'm going to make a separate video which you can look at of me solving it. So feel free to watch that before you try and solve it if you want. Try and solve it on your own, watch it afterwards, whatever works for you. I'll also put up a branch on this repo called Solution, where you can look at one way that you could solve this. The main way I'd suggest tackling this challenge is to go and look at some of the libraries. Like, it uses the readline library in Node, it uses the WS npm package, and it jumps. A really good place to start is go to the WebSockets thing on Wikipedia and just have a read through it. It's a good sort of core theoretical understanding of what is WebSockets, how is it different from HTTP, and how do they work together. And then there's this WS npm package, which we use extensively. There's the readline function in Node. This is not related to WebSockets, but it's used in this implementation, so it's another thing that you can use there. And if you read through those, that's a good starting first point. And then I would suggest jumping down into the code itself. So here we are, and if we have a look at the package, then you'll see package.json, ESLint, jest, WS. So those libraries there. I've got Synon in there for testing. And then we essentially use npm start to start our server, then npm run client to start the client here. And if we have a look at that, so if I go like this, let's have a look at here. Now I'm going to start to go npm start. We can start our server. So here we go. This should have the URL. Notice it's a WS instead of a HTTP. So the thing in front of the : / that's the protocol name. So WS or WebSockets is a different protocol alongside HTTP. And now my other one, I can go npm run client. And now different message coming here. And if I type something, you'll see it sent a message over here. Type things and it receives them. If I send the word echo, the server comes back and it sends echo to me. So that's kind of all it does at the moment. The client can send messages to the server console logs and says, hey, I've received the message, and then it sends something back if you type echo. And off the basis of this, we can turn this into a chat server. So let's start to have and when one of them quits, you'll see another one bites the dust, which is like a tale of Olo. All right, let's go. For your Queen fans out there. Now, let's have a look at some of this code. If we go into the source, so you'll see that the package, when we start it up, it's running Node script start server start client. So I have separated out my main code. So if you look at start server, for example, pretty short, it's pretty small. I require this file, I do something to get the port, and I start the server and I give it console log. So this is the sort of the bootstrap way of starting the code. And the main library itself for the server lives in source server. And here, you can see that this is where we've got WebSockets, we've got a bunch of code here. I'll let you read through that code and how it works, but it's a lightweight boot file and then a heavyweight or heavier weight library file. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can test it. So in my server test here, you'll see that I'm requiring WebSockets and I'm requiring this server file. And it's not started, it doesn't know what port it's talking to, it doesn't know where it's console logging to. And down here, I use start server. I give it the test port rather than the port in the index file, so they don't overlap. And then instead of giving it console log, so it prints out onto the terminal, I give it this.log, which is a Synon stubbed function. So now I can test it and say, hey, did you send me back the thing that I expected to have back? So you can start to interface in a different way. So that is that's the reason why I've set it up in that way. And the client setup is very similar. When you go start client, a bit more stuff going on here. It's got the URL, it's got a readline interface. I didn't want to test readline, so I'm giving it that interface and I can stub it out here. And I send start client a few more things. And, maybe there's a nice way of doing this, but it's a start. And then when you look at the actual client code here, Again, a bit more things are going on in here. And again, the first steps of this challenge to get you started, skim the docs, get your head around things, then read through this code, put a console log into it, move things around, see if you can predict what's going to happen if you make changes. And the same one with this code here. See if you can predict what will happen if you can make changes. And then we'll go to your first step is make it so that when you type something, it gets broadcasted to all the clients who are connected to the server. And then maybe a way where you can see who's actually saying it, because otherwise it will just be a text message and you won't know which client said it. And then you'll have a way of, well, if you put in a /h and you can get a list of commands from the server. And here, how can you send a private message to just one user rather than all of them? So that is, and that's the core challenge. A few stretch goals. You can start from scratch. So throw away my template, just with the libraries we've got here, build your own chat server from scratch. A bit harder, a bit more work, but might be a fun exercise. And the other one is sockets.io. Rebuild this, instead of using WebSockets, use sockets.io, which is a slightly different technology, and you can check out this Stack Overflow article to read a bit more about it. So that is the challenge. Hope you have fun with it. I'm going to make another video now solving a sample solution, and then, yeah, hope you enjoy the challenge. Take care.